It's just online today, right?
Hello. I just want to see anybody can hear me. Hello.
I can hear you.
Ah, brilliant. That's grand. We'll just give it a few minutes then and see how Gerald's getting on. This is going to be recorded again, guys, so we'll be we can dip into it later on. Good morning, Gerald.
Morning, how's it going?
It's going very well. Yourself?
Not too bad, no.
Cracking morning here anyway in Kilkenny.
Not too bad. You're on the road, are you?
No, how can you tell that? I'm in my office. Oh yes, I'm on the road. Yeah, passenger.
Oh, not too bad.
Yeah. But look, I'm well for you, and look, I've got the session recording, Gerald. Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
I'll let you introduce. Sorry.
Are we waiting on anyone else, or is it okay to start?
I think we'll start. We said 9:30 to 10:30. We normally get going at 9:15, so
Perfect.
you're going to see your time, and so I think we'll go ahead. So, look, I think this is be the fourth presentation, is it, from Symmetry this semester?
Yeah.
No, third one.
Heard, yeah.
We've had Sean and we've had Jonathan and yourself,
Yeah.
which is fantastic. And then we had Bam in last week or 2 weeks ago.
Very
So that
good.
was good. So look, I'll let you introduce yourself, Gerald.
Sure.
Thanks very much, and I'll put myself onto mute and turn my camera off as well. All right,
Perfect. Yeah, no worries.
thanks, sir.
Up here. I'm just going to give a quick presentation first. Again, just to give you an overview of who I am and who I work for, and then we'll just give a live demo on the Autodesk Construction Cloud, and we will specifically look at the module for build. Okay, so just firstly, introduce myself. My name is Gerald O'Sullivan. I am an AEC technical specialist within Symmetry, working here for over 8 years, and I specialize in all cloud-related offerings such as build, anything to do with the Autodesk Construction Cloud or BIM 360, and I also help train and do some project work in Revit as well. So yeah, a good mix in work. So with that, then what we'll do is we'll just get straight into it. We'll just get an overview of who Symmetry are. So Over the number of years, Symmetry have constantly expanded, okay, and they started in the UK and we merged with Symmetry maybe 3 years ago. Now we used to be ProCAD, now we're Symmetry, and we've also some offices also over in the US as well. So we have over 800 employees in 7 different countries and 30 different offices throughout the world, with over 250,000 users in terms of whether it be Revit or ACC or anything on the manufacturing side as well. And we have currently 22 acquisitions, which is now 23 actually, because we have expanded into the US even further. So with that then, Autodesk are the number one, or Symmetry are the number one Autodesk reseller globally. And yeah, that's pretty much a quick overview of myself, who I work for, and what we're going to be specifically looking at is, like Gordon said, you've had a couple of demos from ourselves in relation to probably Autodesk Takeoff with Sean, and you've looked at the cost management module with Jonathan, and then you had them in there 2 weeks ago as well. So what I'm going to speak about further then is the Autodesk Build entitlement. Okay, so the Autodesk Build is mainly focused on companies that want to connect your office to the site. So the main function or functionality that comes with that is this guy down here. It's your mobile app. So it allows users out in site to do what the guys in the office are doing on their laptop. So it allows them to sync between what's going out in site and what's going on in the office. And there's a bit of cohesion, and there's one single source of truth inside there. So what it generally covers is elements within the project management and quality management, and also obviously like what you showed with Jonathan, the cost management side of it, and it also tracks the safety. So I'm going to go through each module inside here now. Just let me share my other screen, and yeah, we'll get into it. And if there's any questions throughout this, just by all means ask. So I'm just going to share my screen here with the Autodesk Build project that I'm going to cover. Gordon, maybe a quick one for you. Do you want me to go through the file side of it, or is that something that's been spoken about on the other?
Look, no harm just running through just a quick overview of which of the left-hand side functions are.
Yeah, and do you want me to include the files option in that as well, where the documents are stored, or is that something Sean or Jonathan would have covered? I don't want to either repeat
Well,
myself.
we've been using docs, so I think we're kind of probably all right on that.
Yeah,
But,
perfect.
yeah.
Yeah, no worries. Yeah, so so what we'll start with is just on that files area. Okay, your files area allows you to, and a lot of our customers that have purchased ACC, they're transitioning over from other common data environments. Okay, so the likes of maybe OneDrive, their local servers that everybody has access to, or even SharePoint. So what ACC allows you to do is allows you to replicate those folder structures. And with that, then, as you probably already know, within these folder structures, then, depending on where you're going, someone is the main contractor out in this project, and you're inviting in other subcontractors to work in your environment. And the key thing with that is that you have one single source of truth, and also that people are working in the required areas and the areas that they're meant to. So how you can control that inside here is, again, just to summarize, you can click on the 3 dots, you can go to project settings, and you can control what visibility people have within this files area as well. So as you probably already know, within that, this files area stores over 50 different file formats. So ACC can support over 50 different file formats. And the key thing when you're working with ACC is that you continue using the same name that you uploaded the file in the first place. So what I mean by that is, as you keep uploading your files, if I go into the models area inside here, you will see that it will do automatic revision control of those files. So as long as the file name stays the same, ACC will automatically version control those elements, unlike other common data environments, like I mentioned before. So with that, then I won't go too much into the files area, but what I will cover down the left-hand side is, most of these modules. And what I'll actually start with is the issues option, because that's one that often people use, and it's the one that people use first when they actually are using build. So inside here in the build entitlement, it also comes with docs. So like Gordon was showing already, Docs also has some of these elements inside here. So the likes of issues and reports and the members area. Your issues area is to capture all snags that are happening out in your project. So inside here, because I'm a project admin, I can see every issue that's currently happening in this project. But as you invite subcontractors in, when you go to create an issue inside here, you can assign that issue to specific members. So what that means is that only those members can actually see those issues. And you can see that there are 3 ways to do it. You have a members area, you have a roles area, and you have a company area. Okay, so if you assign someone via their membership, only that individual member will be able to see that issue, along with the project administrators of the project. If you scroll down even further, you can do it by role. So when you're bringing people into your project, you can assign roles to those individuals. So 10 individuals within your project could be an engineer. So if you assign an issue to the engineer, all 10 of those can then see those issues. And finally, then you have your companies. So you can select on a specific company, and whoever has been assigned that company in the members area will automatically see those issues. So it's all down through permissions. With that, then you have what's called watchers. These are the people who can see the issues but can't necessarily change the status of those issues. So they might just want to be able to see what issues are happening out on the site, but not necessarily comment or feedback into those issues. You can also specify your location details, your due date, and your start date, and all of these can be customized inside here. So these elements inside here are what we call attributes. So some of these you have to fill out, as you can see with the star that's up in this title area here, but the rest of them then you don't. And you can add more of these attributes to this list if you want to have more information on those issues. So as you create your issues, you can see again inside here your statuses as to what the life cycle of those issues are going through. And if I select into any one of those, then you can see again your issue information on the right hand side. So as I scroll down inside there, you can see if the issues are associated with documents in your files area, you can select on this hyperlink here, and it will open up a new tab in here, and it will automatically bring you into the PDF or the file that's associated with that issue. So give it a second to load, and it will zoom into where the issue is, and again, it will populate the issue information over here on the right-hand side. So you can see the description, you can see who the watchers are, but more importantly, you can see who it's assigned to. So the issues gives you or allows you to have accountability as to, again, you're assigning your issues out in site. And as well with this, because it comes with the mobile device, which I'll show later on, you can actually, if you assign it to someone out on site, they can view it through the mobile device as well. So they don't have to go back into the office to view the issue to maybe see how to resolve it. They can view it on their own mobile devices or on tablets. Another thing that I like to explain about issues is the issues option inside here can sometimes be misleading because they don't actually have to be snags that are happening on the project. Because in your settings area here, you can customize this issues area. So if I click on the types option, you can have specific types where the issue types are going, and you can see the categories that are going within that as well. So you have your categories and you have your subtypes. This is where you have your custom fields, where you, if you ever want to add in more information to those issues. But the key thing with this is in your types area inside here, it doesn't just have to be snags that are happening on your project. You can actually track tasks just as well. So general day-to-day tasks. So inside here, again, you can be really specific with how you want to track your elements inside an ACC. So for example, another way of using this was you could actually create a category called tasks. And inside here, you can start creating your issue types. So if you wanted to have tasks by different disciplines, you could have architectural. You can create another one called mechanical. And then again, inside here, if you wanted to add in your custom fields inside here, you can add in those. So if I go create now, that's creating a new category inside here with my different types of tasks. And if I come back to create an issue, again, it doesn't just have to be snags. When I go create issue, you can see inside here, I could either, again, choose what my title is. I can choose my status, but the main thing inside here is I could actually just scroll down inside here and I can see my tasks. So tasks for the architectural elements. And inside here, I can just say, again, it doesn't really matter what I could say inside here, but you could populate a description and you can assign it to someone specific inside here. So I'll just assign it to myself. So when I go create, then again, it doesn't just have to be snags, but it can also be tasks inside here. And again, inside here, I could just change this to task. So it's then visible on the list as well inside here. So the handy thing about populating is all this is that not only can you select on your elements, but as a BIM manager inside here, I can categorize by this. So I can choose to filter by the different categories that I have. So inside here, I can scroll down, I can see tasks now, and I can see the elements that are associated with tasks. So if I was going ever into a site meeting, or if I was ever going into a meeting with the client, and I wanted to get a report of the issues that are currently happening out on site, I can pull a report based off either categories. I could do it by who it's assigned to. If I had an issue with a subcontractor, I could go in and question some of the issues that are open by them. And again, you can choose different filters that you can choose to do your reports by. And that's just the issues area inside here. So I'll link that in with the mobile device as we go. So your forms area then inside here is where you can fill out checklists and forms that are associated with the project. And the first thing you always need to do when you're looking in the forms area inside here is you control it through the templates. So similar enough to the files area, you can create a folder structure for your forms inside here. So you can have QA, QC, you can have health and safety, you can have timesheets, and you can have the likes of commissioning. And within all of those, then you can also have subfolders for the likes of accident reports, but you can also see your forms or checklists that are associated with that folder structure. So if I select into any one of them, again, probably what you already know already is inside in your Office Construction Cloud, everything has to be controlled by permissions. So whether it be your files area and what documents you can view, or whether it be your issues and what issues you can see, or whether it be your forms like what we have inside here. So if I select on a specific form, you can see inside here that you can choose either the company or the members or the roles that can actually edit those forms, and you can also choose who can view. So it doesn't just have to be the people who edit them can see them. If you had a BIM manager, or if you had again a manager within your company that just wanted to see the documents that are being filled out, you can allow them into the view option, which will just allow them to view the elements that are being created. So by documenting all these and putting them in that folder structure, when those forms are created, again, you don't have to micromanage the location of where those forms are going. Because typically, if you work on other common data environments, like SharePoint, like OneDrive, people are going out on site and manually filling out those forms through Excels or Word documents. And they're having to email those documents back through their email, back to their inbox. Then what they'll have to do is they'll have to save down those checklists, and then they'll have to upload them into the common data environment. Again, whether it be your local server or in SharePoint or in OneDrive. But by using ACC, again, linking in with your mobile app, you can fill out these checklists and forms on your mobile app, and it will automatically sync into this area. And by syncing into this area, then the people that are in your office can automatically see then those forms or checklists coming into this area. So again, it's one single source of truth, but it's also reducing the amount of steps that you have to take in order to fill out those documents. So you're reducing time, you're reducing errors, and you're making sure the information is up to date inside here. So to create those forms, you have two different types of forms that you can use. You have what's called smart PDFs and inbuilt forms. So if I click on this form area inside here, you can see if I select on any one of these and go to create a new form, you will see inside here, this is what we call an inbuilt PDF. So it's where on the left-hand side, you can see your different tabs that you can work through to fill out the information that's associated with that form. And a new feature that has come in the last few months is before you had to accept the name of that form. So you just always had to leave it as ceiling inspection checklist. But now what you can do is you can be really specific with the name of that form. So you're making sure maybe the name ties back with the area of the checklist that you're doing it in. And inside here, you can fill out your checklist. And because this is an inbuilt form, what this means is that you work through these questions. And inside here, you can see the questions again that you have to answer. And you can also set up formulas that whether you select on the yes or no option, it automatically makes you attach photos or issues to those questions. So if there was a non-compliance that you were working through on the checklist and you selected on the no option, inside here, you can set up ACC that so that you automatically have to create an issue then where that non-compliance is happening out in site. So again, you can force the users to make sure that the correct information is going into the project as well. And again, inside here, you can populate all this data. You can go into each different section that's within this. And then finally inside here that you can submit each of those sections as well. So again, you can fully fill out all this. And again, the handy thing about this is you can add in signatures. So you can choose to add in your signature, which verifies that you have filled out the form correctly. And you can just submit those elements inside here. So you'll have to submit each section inside here. And you will see that as you submit them, it's indicating on the left-hand side that you're completing your work inside here. Inside here, you can see all the forms is being submitted now. So that has now changed from in progress to closed. And if I come back out into the QA/QC, you can see again, that's at the top of the list inside here. So again, you can see all your information. And the key thing when working with forms inside here is that everything again is fully permissioned. So you can only see the forms that you were associated to inside here. If I just try and find maybe a form that has Smart PDF, is there one inside here? So maybe you might have one inside here. Just give me a second here. I'll just check if I can. Yeah, so this is a Smart PDF then inside here. So the first way was an inbuilt form. Again, it's a manual form that you create questions for. And a Smart PDF is where you might have a PDF document or you might have a Word document of the checklist that typically is created in a project. And you can use this Smart PDF option that's here to convert the PDF that you're looking at. This will load for me. So I don't want to sync up for me. Refresh this. So you can convert the PDF anyway that you would have created in your Word document. You can convert that to what's called a Smart PDF. How you convert it to a Smart PDF is you can use the likes of Bluebeam. So Bluebeam will allow you to basically convert these cells that are in the PDF into intellectual elements, where you can actually type in the information that you need inside here. So again, what this allows you to do and why people and why companies like to use Smart PDFs is they don't want to change how their checklists look, or they don't want to change to try and comply with what ACC has. They want to keep their documents the exact same way that they would have originally had them created in their company, and they just want them to be stored in ACC. So allowing you to create a Smart PDF allows you to keep the PDF or the checklist that you have to create the exact same look as what it originally had when you were doing it before ACC as well inside here. So you can fill out all this information inside here, again, just by clicking into it and typing into the area inside here. And then finally at the end again inside here, you can see that you can do a sign off inside here. So you can sign it and you can submit it. The other thing that I was just mentioning inside here in terms of the form details, you can choose the date that the form was created.
Quick question there, Gerald.
Yeah.
Yeah, would the Adobe PDF create a Smart PDF?
Yeah, but you have to have Adobe Pro, Gordon.
Adobe Pro, yeah.
Yeah.
I think the students get Adobe Pro. I'm not sure. Staff do anyway.
Yeah.
Is Bluebeam free access for doing this?
Bluebeam is a paid subscription, but for educational licenses, I'm not sure is there educational licenses, Gordon. But I can always,
okay.
I can inquire.
I can check that out then.
Yeah, if you have Adobe Pro, Gordon, that'll do the same thing.
I'll do the same thing. Okay. Cheers,
Yeah,
man.
no worries.
Thanks.
So inside here with the checklist inside here, again, the more information you input into it, the more you'll be able to report out afterward. So we have some people controlling checklists for like site inductions. So it doesn't just have to be, you know, snags that are happening out in site or site walks. It can be for capturing the inductions that are coming into the project. And inside here, what they'll do is they'll change the induction name maybe with the initials of the user and they'll put in the induction date, but they'll also put in a description. They'll also put in the location, maybe the site cabin that it was done in, and they'll give it the date that it was filled out. And the more information you input into these elements, and it's the same thing with issues, the more you'll be able to report and filter it out afterwards as well. So there are pluses to doing that inside here. So if I go submit inside here, you can see again, when you submit that element, it's going into the folder that you've submitted or that you have it originally placed from the template. So again, by doing that back-end work and setting up the folder structures, the forms or the locations of where those forms are being going, when someone creates that checklist and fills it out, they don't need to worry about the location that it's going into because it's automatically going to sync back into that area. And that's the beauty about keeping the connection between site and the office as well. And that's why, again, a lot of people are using this inside here. Is there any questions from any of the students on this, or does that all make sense okay? All okay inside here? Okay, so inside here again, that's just again the forms area inside here. What you have next then is your photos. So there's not really too much to the photos area inside here. Only that you can see the photos that are coming in from the other modules or the other elements here on the left hand side. So as you attach photos into a snag that's happening out on site, that photo will appear in that issue, but it will also sync across into this area that's inside here. And if I select into any photo that's inside here, you can see the information of that photo on the right hand side. If that individual had their location set up, you can see where that photo was taken. And you can also see that you could change the title if you want, but again, realistically, that's too much work for people because you don't really want to have to edit the name of every photo that's going in. But you can also set up the location so that, again, the more information that you put into the element that you're uploading, the more that you can report back from it as you want, maybe later on down the line. And this is just some of the details that's associated with this photo. But the other key thing is with, like I was saying, if you upload the photo through the issue, so you don't actually upload it directly into the photos area, you can see the references over here on the right hand side. So you can see what this element is referenced to in the other areas of Autodesk Build. So you can see that it's included with a form, and it's also included in some of the form questions that have been answered inside here. And if I select into another one inside here, again, this one doesn't have anything populated. Just click into another one here. You can see that, again, with this one inside here, you can see that it's associated with a form. But like I said, it's also associated with some issues inside here as well. And the beauty about using Autodesk Build is that you can go from one area to another by just using the click of a button. So if you're a BIM manager inside here, you see this photo that's currently in this photos area, you can select on the issue. That will open up a new tab, so you're not moving away from the photo, but it's showing you what issue it's associated to. It's going to highlight that issue. And as I scroll down inside here, I can see that photo then relating to that issue inside here. So there's full traceability inside when you're using Autodesk Build as well inside here. And again, that's just the photos area inside here. Like I was saying before, the more information that you put into the photo, the better you're able to report out and after, because inside here on the right hand side, with any of these elements on the left hand side, it comes with a filters area. So you can select on any one of these guys inside here, and you can see I want to see all photos that are associated to issues. And again, it will filter down these elements inside here, and that will allow you to export and report then based off that then as well. So again, just to get into it, the more information that you put inside here, the more you're able to report out on that information afterwards as well. So to move on then again, you have RFIs. RFIs are what we call requests for information. So the beauty about our RFIs, again, using Autolist Build, is that you're able to have one single source of truth. So if you're a client and you're looking for information, or if you're a subcontractor and you need information from a client, you can submit what's called an RFI. So a request for information. That's where you're requiring more information to maybe do a job that's out in site. So inside here, with all of these modules or all of these elements on the left-hand side, it comes with a settings area. So this settings area is only available to project administrators. So this allows you to control the settings and the permissions that's associated with those elements. So in relation to RFIs, if I click on permissions, you have different roles that go through an RFI. So inside here, you have creators, you have managers, you have coordinators and reviewers. So the creators are realistically going to be anyone that's on the project, because you want anyone on the project to be able to create an RFI, because most people might need information that's on the project. But you'll only have specific people who are the managers and maybe the reviewers. So the managers are going to be those RFI managers, and they're going to control whether those RFIs that are submitted are actually valid or not. Because some of those RFIs that could be submitted by contractors, the information might already be in the project, but they just don't know where it is. So there might not be any need of it actually be going through a formal review process. They could just cancel out that RFI, or they could just close that RFI at the manage stage, and they'll just give that information to those specific individuals. But you also have coordinators and reviewers. So the managers are the people who control whether the RFIs are actually valid or not. The reviewers are the people who might need to review this RFI and upload the information that's being requested. So again, you can also just add another layer to that, who the coordinator is. So the coordinator are the people who might need to coordinate who the actual reviewers are as well. So it might just need to go through one extra step before it goes to the reviewers. Inside here, you can control your different RFI types. All of this is fully customizable. You can see inside here, we've created some default ones to maybe based off the different disciplines. So you have an architectural RFI, you have mechanical, you have some project managers, you have some structural. And if you select on any of these, you can specify that RFI workflow. So you can see that if a subcontractor creates an RFI, it will go to the manager first. The manager will see if that RFI is valid or not. If they submit that as a valid RFI, it will then go to the reviewers to review that RFI and upload the information that's needed for that RFI. And once those reviewers fill out their process, it will finally go back to the manager so that they'll distribute that RFI to the relevant people. So whether it be a subcontractor or who it is. And inside here, once you are happy enough with your workflow, you'll come down, you'll say who the default reviewers are going to be. So that's the people who are going to fill out this area of it. And then you can see who the default manager is of that specific reviewer. So if I was maybe the architectural manager, and I wanted to control that, or realistically, it's going to be your BIM manager. So if I was the BIM manager, I just assign myself as the default manager of this. So the minute a subcontractor fills out an RFI and they assign it to this workflow for the architectural RFI, I'll automatically get an email notification to say that that RFI has been created. I need to come in and do this first step, and then I need to assign it to the reviewers, which are going to be these two individuals. And once these two then fill out that review stage, it's going to come back to me to distribute that. All right, so again, you can fill out the workflows of each of these as you go through. The custom fields area is just if you wanted to add in more information for the RFIs. So if you found that the default information that was inside an ACC wasn't good enough and you needed more information, you could choose to create your custom fields. So inside here, to go through an RFI, you'll just click on the create option inside here. And again, remember, everybody has the creator option. So anybody can actually create an RFI. Inside here again, I'll just type in this arch information. My default workflow then is like what I was shown. I have that list that I can choose from. if I select on that architectural one, you'll see the next action is automatically going to be by the reviewers inside here. Again, it's going to skip the managerial process inside here because I'm the manager and I'm creating it. So it doesn't actually need to go through that. Inside here, you can have optional reviewers. So if you found that, let's say, Maria isn't available anymore, you could choose another person that's inside here that maybe, again, if I'm not available, that Deborah will then come inside here and take up that role. And inside here, again, the more information that you put into it, the more you're able to filter out by that information then. So you can scroll down inside here. Again, if you thought that you had some information and you needed more of that information, you could choose to add references from any of these areas on the left-hand side. And then again, inside here, if it was an RFI that you're waiting for information and it's preventing you from doing your work, you could populate this information inside here. So it's going to have a cost impact because I can't do the work that's needed. It's also going to have a schedule impact because I can't obviously do the work I need. So that's going to then have an impact on the schedule. And then you can see the priority, this is high because both of these are set to yes. So you can go create on that then. And again, inside here, you can see it skips the managerial process because I created it and I'm the manager. And then inside here, you can see again that the reviewer needs to submit a response. So they can go submit response. They can see, please see information attached. And then inside here, they can choose the files that they want then inside here. So you can either upload from your own area and you can submit that then inside here. So you can upload your elements from your own computer. So I can go submit response. And inside here then, once the reviewer goes through with it, it will go through into the manager and I'll be able to again close and distribute this. So if I found that the reviewer didn't do it correctly, I can return it to the reviewer. So I can return it back to this area inside here. So inside here, again, if they didn't upload the correct information that I thought that was needed, I can return it to them and I can give a response as to maybe why I returned it. So when you're going submitting response inside here, you can either upload your information from your desktop, or else what you can do is you can come down into references and you can upload them from the files area inside here. So there's two ways that you can do it, and you can upload the elements as well if you want it. So again, that's just the RFIs inside here. Again, you can just submit your response. You can upload this inside here. And then what you can do then is once you upload that inside here, the managers then can close and distribute that. And again, you can see inside here, there's other ones inside here. That's the info. And I'll just show you that close and distribute option. So when you go close and distribute, you can see the answers that the reviewers would have given. And you can see again, whether I'm going to reject or approve this. I can go next. You can see the documents that are inside here. If I wanted to include a watcher, so if I found a watcher wasn't included in the first place and they needed to see this, I could include them inside here. I could give a comment. And another thing that you can do inside here, and another new feature is you can save these closed RFIs as reports. So you can save these as reports so that they're logged then in your files area as a report to say that it's being closed out. And you can just close that RFI. And again, the status of all these are going to be updated. So if a BIM manager, or even if the CEO wanted to come in and see these elements inside here, they just might want to have an overview of what's exactly happening. And you can close out that inside here. So you have submittals, which is basically the same or similar enough process. It's not the same element because RFIs are requests for information, but submittals is when you're submitting information in to the client or to the main contractor. You're giving them your information and then they can either distribute that out the way that they want it. So inside here again, you have your same area where you have your settings option inside here. And again, you can kind of go through the same steps. You have your permissions inside here. So basically, these are the people who are going to be the submittal managers and who have control of how those submittals are going to be distributed. You have your default values for those. So again, maybe who the default manager is always going to be on the majority of submittals. What the review time is for those submittals. So how much time or how much leeway you're going to give. and who the default watchers are. So these are the people, again, your watchers are only the people who can see the life cycle of the elements, but not necessarily answer or help fill out those elements. Inside here, you can, again, upload different types of responses and again, what type of responses you want for your submittals. Inside here, then you have your different types of submittals. And again, you can add to this, whether it be documentation, whether it be maybe certs, like certs for like a GA1 form for a machinery or a GA2 form. You can again upload all those inside here. And then these are your review templates. So again, inside here, like I was showing before for the architectural info on the RFI, you can set up templates by the stage, and you can have a staged effect whereby your submittals go through a specific type of workflow. So you can see that there's a 1-step and a 2-step. You can see the 1-step is just that it'll go to Deborah, and then the submit will be filled out, or you'll see that you'll have a 2-step where it'll be the submit will be submitted by a member. It will go to anybody who's worked within ProCAD, and then once ProCAD fill it out, it will then go to myself, that I can see what the information ProCAD has provided, and then finally I can distribute that then myself. So again, to submit a submittal inside here, you have 2 ways. You can either just submit what's called a submittal item, which is just one item that you want to submit, or else what you can use is you can either use packages or spec sections. And packages or spec sections allow you to group a number of items together, so that, let's say, if you have 10 items that were relating to the entrance area, or maybe to the roofing detail, you can submit those 10 items as one package. So then the submittal manager has to review each of those items within that package. So it's a way of like grouping them together as one piece of information. And then you also have spec sections, again inside here, where you can group that under specific spec sections, where you might want to have a spec section for each different discipline, or you might have a spec section for each different area. Again, whether it be flooring, roofing, you could do it by room. And again, what that does is it groups your information under one specific spec section. So as you're looking at your items inside here, again, remember, you always have this filters tab over here. So the beauty about either categorizing it within spec sections or within packages is that you can then select on that package. And if there was information, so I'll just see if there's any within these. So if there was information within that package, it would automatically then just bring up the items that are associated with that package. And it's the same thing with your spec sections. So if I select on the flooring option, you'll see only one piece of information is associated with that flooring. Maybe there's a little bit more roofing. You can see that there are 4 items. So again, as a BIM manager, I might just want to see the information that's associated with that spec section. And again, I can always do a report on those. So inside here, again, if I just remove that to get back to the full list, you can create, again, a singular item. You'll automatically have to assign that to a specific spec section. That's mandatory. And inside here, then again, you can just see populate that information. So external walls, you can scroll down inside here. If that was to a specific package, again, your packages aren't mandatory inside here. And again, inside here, I want to go through a 1-step review. Inside here, what type of element this is going to be documentation, who the responsible contractor is, so who is technically owning this submittal. I'm just going to give it to, let's say, the GOS developers, and the due date of this as well. I need this submitted and this reviewed by next Tuesday. What priority this is, I'm just going to give this as normal. And again, inside here, if you wanted to control this by planning, you could inside here. So if I just go create, that's going to create this submittal. The responsible contractor is going to get this first. Maybe see if they can fill out this information inside here. So the responsible contractor is maybe the person that needs to upload this specific information to submit this element. So inside here, if I go submit, I can attach either from my computer or from project files. And I'll just quickly, because I'm probably a bit tight on time here, I'll just quickly go through. If I just submit some elements inside here, Just submit some PDFs. That will allow me to do it a little bit easier. So again, inside here, I can attach that copy. They'll come inside here. I'll go done. It's going to go through the next step inside here. So as the reviewer, then what I can do inside here is I can start my review, and I need to also see if these submittal elements are going to be valid. So what I can do is I can actually select into any one of these. I can review the information that has been submitted. And inside here, if you found that the elements that were submitted were correct inside here, what you can do is you can put a stamp on it. So you can create a stamp to say that this has been approved by myself. So I can just type in approved as noted. And again, if I wanted to change this color, I could. If you see, I go create stamp, and you can also see that there has been original approvals on this document before. So inside here, then I can go save. I'll just remove this, and I'll just put my initials at the end. I go save then inside here. What that's going to do is going to, it's basically going to push it through like a review process, whereby I've reviewed this document, but now it's gone into my area inside here. So from here, then I could also do it on the other one. And again, inside here, I could approve both of those so that when I go done inside here, Deborah or Maria, in this case, can then review it, and then they can see my documents. So they can also see the history of what's been uploaded by the responsible contractor, but they will see my documents, and when they select into it, then on the right-hand side of this document down here, they can see my stamp down here. So realistically, there only should be one stamp per area. So they should have only been able to see my one stamp that's inside here. And then they could choose to give it a stamp. And then they can choose to say approved. And they can approve it inside here. So obviously I didn't include this. So again, I'll just copy this down and just go done. And finally, then again, it goes back to the submittal manager, and they can close and distribute that information out to whoever needed the information that was associated with that submittal. And the handy thing about this is all that is tracked then inside here. So you can see the different review steps that it's gone through inside here. And again, the same thing as the RFIs. I can go close and distribute. I can just say that's approved. Next inside here. And the same thing, I could choose to save this as a report that it's going to automatically go into a specific file in my files area. So I go done inside here. That will fill out that. And again, inside here, you can see it's going to give everything inside here a specific status. So inside here, you can see that's all been approved and the status that has been closed. You also have meetings to allow you to track your meetings that's in it. Yeah.
Gerald.
Yeah.
I just want to get my head around there in terms of our construction project and where this would come in. So this would be like, let's say, if the steel subcontractor was sending in drawings or getting through a review and approval process for shop drawings. Yeah.
Yes, so it's a formal way of sending in your documents to the main contractor or the client to review your elements.
Okay.
Yeah, so you can go through like what you've probably spoken with the students, Gordon, is in docs. You can go through a review process too.
Yeah.
So you can set up reviews, but you nearly use the reviews option from going from design stage into construction.
Okay.
So that's probably where I differentiate between reviews and submittals.
Right.
So reviews is an easy way of making sure that the elements that are going to be used out on site have been approved prior to use. Whereas
and then submittals is a process on site.
Correct. Or maybe it's your first time uploading documents for a specific area. Again, whether it be for an area that's on a project, and you just want to submit those to the main contractor, and then they might push them into the area where that information is meant to go in the files area.
Okay, and then so some of the tasks the guys have got coming up over the next few weeks is to, as a main contractor, to send out some tender packages and get some returns back in. So, for instance, a steel package or a curtain wall package. What would be the workflow for that then?
So yeah, there are two ways that you can do it really. You can technically create a submittal whereby you submit your documents to those, or else what you can do is in your files area, in your docs area inside here, you could have the tender packages hosted in your files area, and you can allow people to view those folders, which will allow them to obviously download those packages and work on them. But also
So
what you
that's
can
setting the permissions.
correct. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's setting the permissions, yeah. So you'll just come down here, you'll just give them the options inside here for view and download, and then that will allow them to download those documents that are associated with that tender package. Also, what you can do is you can create what's called a transmittal. So you can create a transmittal again if there was a tender package inside in your docs area. And again, sometimes, and again, maybe most of the time, Gordon, is you might have someone that's not really proficient with ACC. They mightn't even know how to sign into it. So what you can do is you can create a transmittal inside here. You can come down. Again, inside here, you can choose a specific folder, or you could choose the files that are within that. And you could go select. Again, you can call this tender package. And you can go recipients. So again, inside here, you can select on the recipients that are on the list, save, and you can give a message, please see documents in folder. I can go create.
And I couldn't quite see that, but could that be a blind copy on the recipients? Or will
No,
they see each other?
you'd nearly have to do one for each, because what that would allow you to do then is in that transmittal, you can see if they viewed it, and you can also see an overview of if they've downloaded it.
Oh, okay.
So you'd actually be better nearly if you did one per contractor, because you'd have more visibility, and you'd also have just more documentation as to whether they're actually engaging in it or not.
Okay. And
And
then for the returns then.
so the transmittal then inside here allows you to send a transmittal to someone so that they can download this zip file that's here. So they'll download it, they'll review it. But what it also gives you what that transmittal also gives them is it gives them the hyperlink as to where that tender package was stored. So they can technically select on that file that's inside here, and they can again see that information that's inside here. So if you had another folder inside here for returns, you could technically get them to upload that information back into that folder area.
Yeah, and then that can just be upload only, so they can't see the other tender returns coming in.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, no, that folder system's kind of way I've been teaching it for a number of years. I just wanted to make sure that what I was doing was kind of
No, that's spot
in
on.
line with.
Yeah, and you can see inside here, see the way I downloaded and viewed it? That's giving you an overview to make sure that that recipient then is obviously engaging. So maybe transmittals might be a better way of making sure you can see and you can
package.
Yeah, and you can see whether they're actually downloaded and engaged with it or not.
Yeah, I like that. Okay, thanks.
No worries. So your meetings area again, just to cover it quickly inside here, it's where you can, again, most of the time without using ACC, you capture meetings within Excel files or Word documents, and you just basically type in your meetings of minutes. But your meetings area basically allows what you can do in those Word documents, but you can store it in ACC. So inside here, you can see you can capture what's being discussed in the meeting, your specific meeting topics, and then you can create your different items. And within these items then inside here, you can assign those items to specific individuals. So if someone had specific ownership of the reception area and you needed to make sure that they're following it, and you need to make sure that if there is issues associated with it, you can assign those elements to that individual. You can also include attachments if there's any documents that you wanted to include in it, and you can include references too. So inside here, you can see there's 3 references. On the right hand side, there's 2 issues associated with this reception area, and there's also a photo that is included as well. So you can track your meetings inside here, and like what it's shown inside here, as you create your meetings, you can change your meetings from open to what's called meeting minutes, where that it's finalized and it's finished. So inside here, you can see ones that have been done on previous weeks. So if I take the one that's open because it's stated as agenda, if I change this to, let's say, minutes, that will then close off that. And if I wanted to create another one, I just go create follow-up. I give it today or next week's date, and I go confirm. So you'll see this will go from 4 to 5. And anything that has remained open in the previous meeting will be carried across into the follow-up. So if I, let's say, go back into version 4, which is here, and if I change that to mark as minutes, that means that that can't be edited anymore. And again, inside here, you can see it's now flagged as finished. But let's say, for example, if I just go through this again, if I just go through this as closed, okay, inside here, then again, I'll create another follow-up, or maybe the following week. And again, if I come back into 5, or sorry, inside in 6, you can see because I closed out that item, it doesn't carry across into the next one. So it's only carrying across the open elements from one meeting into another. And it's just leaving the elements that are closed in the area that it's finished in. All right, so it's a handy way of basically documenting all your elements inside here in your meetings area. But again, it's only carrying across the open items. And any item that you create is going to be stored in this items area as well. So if you're assigning these items to specific individuals, they don't have to try and find those items in the individual meetings. They can just come inside here and they can see the items that are associated with themselves. So again, inside here, you can use the filters option. I only want to see the items that are assigned to me, and that will filter it down then to me. So from there, then, if I wanted to, I could select into that item. It's bringing me into that meeting's minute where it was discussed, and I can see the reference then that's associated with that as well. And again, that's just for meetings area. Your correspondence area then is, not only can you basically upload all your information that's on the project, but you can also upload your emails to make sure all your emails are basically tracked. So if you wanted to store all the emails that are associated with that project on the project, you can either upload them manually from your emails, or else what you can do is when you're replying back to anyone, you can blind CC this email address. So if I just copy this, and in my emails here, I just create a new email, bring this over. You can actually include this email inside here. And by including this email, if I send this to someone, I'll just say ACC project information. See attached. Now if I go send that anyway. That email will then sync up into here. Now it'll take a few minutes to sync sometimes, but that email will then sync up into here. And again, you can see who it was from. You can see the recipients. And again, your emails will get tracked inside here. So if I select into this, you can see the documents that were included in that email. You can see again on the right hand side the history of that. And you can see who it was sent by. So it's all just basically allowing you to have one single source of truth then inside here. So from that then, yeah.
Sorry, Gerald, I was just thinking there on the minutes, because we had one of the presentations yesterday, and one of the groups had attached issues to some of the items in minutes. Can you just run through that there for the rest of us?
Sorry, you said it again there, Gordon?
One of the groups had attached issues to some of the items in minutes.
Right.
So link them together. So if you had an issue, that would be looked at in the minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just if you could just run through that just for the rest of us, just to see that process.
Yeah, so inside here, you're just saying in relation to the reference that's here, is it?
I think so. I can't quite see. I think this is the attached.
Yeah, so inside here, when you've created meeting minutes, again, you have your items. You'll come into attachments, and you can attach. Well, no, your attaching is only attaching from your documents area of your own computer, but there'll probably be references more so than anything else, because you'll be able to add your references over here from your issues.
So you can reference an issue.
Yes, so everything inside here, you should be able to go from one to another. So
Yes.
if you create issues and you wanted to flag them in meetings, you can just, everything will have a references option. And if you click on the drop down for references, you can associate one element to another, whether it's an issue into a submittal, an issue into a meeting, an issue into an RFI. And if you're in the RFI, you can see your references, like I'm in the meetings here. I can see my issues. If I wanted to discuss that issue in the meeting, I can click on the references, I can see the issue, I can select on it. It opens up a new tab inside here, brings me directly into that issue. And again, inside here, I can review that issue information. So from here, then I can see that issue information. I can see the model that it's associated to. And if I wanted to, I can just go from open to in review and come back inside here, synchronize that, and you'll see that has changed then.
Okay.
All right, so again, you can track and you can discuss your issues inside there then as well. Is that okay?
Yeah. And just wondering when I seen your issues list, and I know we can filter the issues by whether it's coordination
Yeah,
or design or whatever.
yeah.
But can we take a selection of issues and group them like we would do with clashes in Navisworks? There could be a random selection of issues, but they might all be within the plant room. So could I group them under plant room?
Yes.
Well, that'd be under locations, wouldn't it?
Exactly. So inside here, you'll just have to make sure your locations are set up correctly, because if you select on these, then you'll have building, you'll have ground floor. You can select on that and it will bring up any issues that are then brought into that.
Okay.
So if I go first floor, there might be see the way it's done it by first floor here, and it's grouped in that way. So again, that's why I was saying, Gordon, the more information you put into the issues or you put into the checklists, the more you'll be able to report back from it afterwards.
And hence that's all that metadata that's driving everything, so which is great.
Correct, yeah, 100%.
Okay, I'll leave you be.
No. So then you have your schedules, and again, I'm probably just caught on time here, but again, you can upload different schedules. So like a Primavera P6 file or a Microsoft project file, that allows you to upload your schedule. So that allows basically you to link the quantity surveyors with the teams that are out in site. So most of the time, what people have to do is they'll need to go into a site office to be able to see the schedule that's actually happening out on site. Whereas allowing you to have this schedule option here, it allows every member to be able to see what's happening on the project visually just from their own area. So they don't have to go into a site cabin to see the schedule or so on. And then they can see the schedule and again, the activities that are going on in that schedule. What it also allows you to do is change from viewing to suggestion mode. So if I was a project manager out on site, inside here, I can actually start integrating with this, I suppose. So inside here, if there was a delay out in site in relation to, let's say, the floor build-up inside here, and it actually didn't happen on this date, I could extend this another 2 weeks. And that's just going to have inside here, it's going to have as a cost impact, and it's going to have, it's going to be a delay and it's going to be a cost impact. I could also choose to add in the root cause if I wanted to inside here, and maybe notes as to maybe why this has been delayed. And what that gives you the ability to do then is I can just submit that to the manager. Essentially what I'm doing there is I'm submitting that to like the quantity surveyor or someone who is actually controlling the schedule inside here. And what they can do is they can come into the what's called the impact log. And from the impact log then they can see all the delays basically that's happened on the project. And they can then verify those, whether they're still in review, whether they have been mitigated, or whether you're actually allowing them. Okay, so what they can do then is they can go back to the Primavera P6 file or the Microsoft project file where they created that schedule in the first place, and they can upload a new version of that schedule inside here based off the suggestions that were made by the likes of the project manager. So inside here, you can see inside here, your schedules can go up in different versions as well, similar enough to your files. All right, so that's a quick summary of the schedules option inside here. The last thing then inside here is your assets. Your assets is basically all your elements that maybe you want to track inside your project. So whether it be the installation of your doors, the installation of your columns, or like the installation of your mechanical equipment. Like the forms that we had inside here, you can have your different categories for each different asset that you want to track. And what this will do is it will track the life cycle of those assets. So inside here, I could select on a door. Again, inside here, then I could change maybe the status of that door. Has it been delivered? Has it been installed out in site? After it's been installed, has it been pre-tested? Has it been post-tested? And inside here, then you can see you can do your performance test, and then you can see that you can change it to commission inside here. So you can have a full list of assets that you want to track the life cycle of inside here. And with those assets then as well, you can include your references. So like Gordon was saying there, if you want to track your issues that are in a meeting, you can do the same thing with your assets. So inside here, a typical one that a lot of our customers use is the likes of your mechanical equipment, or you might have just general equipment that you use out in site. So whether it be like your dumpers or your diggers or your chainsaws, anything, you might have to have what's called GA1 or GA2 forms. And they're basically forms to make sure to tell people that that mechanical equipment or that digger has been tested and it's serviced. With those then inside here, a lot of people actually use the forms area to fill out the GA1 and the GA2 forms. And with inside in the asset, then they'll come into references, they'll go add reference, they'll go to forms, and they'll select on that form where that inspection has been done. So that if anybody was ever to come in and do an audit on those pieces of equipment, the full life cycle of those elements have been tracked through the asset. So if someone wanted to come in and see this piece of furniture inside here, they can select on it and they can see the issue information and the references that have been associated to that asset inside here. So it just gives you a full log of the life cycle of that asset inside here as well. And again, from here, you can have different ways that you can do your assets. So you could just create it from an Excel list, like inside here, if you had, like a few of our customers have, you know, equipment that the Excel list could be 500 rows long. So you could just import an Excel inside here. And yeah, you could just basically bring them all in at once. But what you can also do is you can pull your assets from 3D models. So you can see inside here, if you wanted to track the families that were created inside in a Revit model, you can see that you can import those as assets into the asset information. The likes of inside here, if I select on those, sorry, even if I look at the mapping a little bit more, let's give this a second. Shouldn't have taken the largest one, I might just take the one that has 20. Quicker. So again, basically what it does is it allows you to export the families that are inside in your Revit model as assets in ACC. So inside here, you can see inside here that we have 20 columns that were pulled out of the Revit model. And then those columns then, if I just show you back outside here, they're listed as assets inside here. So under columns, you will see those 20 columns inside here. And again, with this, it just allows you to track the life cycle of those elements, and allows you to store the documents that are associated with those elements as well. But yeah, that's pretty much it then with most of the options on the left hand side. Gordon, if you have any more questions, by all means ask.
No, I don't. No, that was fantastic. There's always more and more, which is great. It's like the more you look into this stuff, the deeper it gets. But it's what's excellent there is just seeing this platform being developed further and further, and integration is fantastic. Because we've not really looked at the scheduling part. We've had a little look there, but that's definitely something there that I'll be looking for the guys to bring into the project. You know, linking that in.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
Link.
Losing you a small bit there, Gordon.
The class have any questions? Anybody any questions?
A lot of information covered. So,
Yeah, it was. I know. It's back to COVID days there, where it's a quiet screen time. But
yeah,
look,
exactly.
I know you're shot. Look, that was fantastic, Gerald. It really was, and a lot of good information in there. And you clarified a few things for myself as well. What I've been doing and how I thought things worked. So lots of
Yeah,
new bits there that we can add to what we're doing. So it was very much appreciated.
no worries at all, Gordon. And like that, if anything else pops up in the future, just yeah, give us a shout. Happy to help.
Yeah, no, it's fantastic the support we're getting from you guys. So look, I'll go off now because I know you're way over time. So thanks for that. Thanks for finishing through and dealing with me my long questions.
Yeah, no
So
worries at all, Gordon. Yeah, and sure we'll catch up again soon.
we will do. Okay.
Cheers. Thanks,
Thanks,
guys.
Gerald. Thanks
See
very
you.
much.
Bye
Cheers,
bye.
guys.
Bye bye.
Bye bye. Bye. Lads, I'm going to sign off there now. We will see you on Wednesday. Okay. Cheers.